All right. It works this time.
Okay, good.
Something really weird happened there. All right, everybody. Thank you for being so patient with this broadcast. And welcome to the Awaken Badass podcast show. I am your hostess, Tish Gentili, and I'm a women's empowerment coach. I am obsessed, as Sarah would say, with helping women to step into their power and become free emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually even. And if you want to learn how to express yourself fully and be unapologetic, if you want to learn how to get out of the box of your thinking, and you want to learn what sustainable maximalism is all about, then this podcast is for you. And I have here Sara Camposarcone. By the way, we're both Italian, so we already have something in common here, Sara. And Sara's been very patient with me today with everything. So welcome to the show, Sara. This is such a privilege and an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So I kind of wanted to introduce Sara for those of you that don't know her. And I'm going to read her bio and then share a little bit about how I ran into her work. So Sara is a content creator and sustainable maximalist, inspiring people of all ages, shapes, color, and sexual identity to dress for themselves and no one else. She believes in achieving a maximalist style can be completely sustainable through shopping secondhand, repurposing old fabrics, and supporting small independent upcoming designers. Over the last 10 years or so, she has curated a wardrobe that fits her personal style perfectly, so getting dressed every day is always a treat. Forever preaching, wear what makes you happy and watch your confidence grow. In addition, Sara has thousands of subscribers on TikTok and Instagram and was recently featured in the French edition of Elle magazine. But you've also been featured, I noticed, in New York Times, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. Like the list kept going. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So how I came across your work, Sara, was, a while ago, I was just scrolling through TikTok. And there was this amazing woman with all this color and all this creativity. And I went, wow. And I was just so blown away by you. And then I became obsessed. I was like, I can't wait to see what Sara's going to wear today. I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And it just made me so happy on so many levels. I want to break this interview down in two kind of parts. One is the mindset and who you are and how to show up confidently. But then I want to get into some girly stuff and learn about how to find your personal style, thrifting, and everything that you talk about on your pages. So I want to start with this, Sara. I come across so many women who worry about people's opinions, who don't, they can't express themselves fully. So I would love to not only hear what your journey was, because I saw pictures of you when you weren't dressing for yourself on your TikTok videos. Yeah. And then there was this massive explosion. I was thinking about it today and I was thinking her soul exploded out into all this color. And it was just beautiful to see that transformation. So maybe you could take us through how that happened for you.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel like through high school, even earlier, even like middle school, I definitely, with just like the age that you are, kind of always tried to fit in. I never really liked to stand out. So I wouldn't wear anything that was out of the ordinary, nothing like super colorful or like bold. And it was definitely a lot more to do with even like the people I surrounded myself with. I was always more self-conscious about what I looked like, what I'm wearing, and definitely tried to fit into that kind of group. And even just the way that I shopped, I definitely shopped a lot of fast fashion. So fast fashion companies are usually targeted towards like what's trending, and everybody always wants to wear like what's cool right now, especially at that age. Um, but I found after high school, as soon as I kind of got out of there, I also wore a uniform in high school too. So that also kind of was a little bit difficult to express, you know, who I am and what I want to wear on a daily basis when you're told what to wear. But anyway, after high school, I feel like I kind of started branching out, trying different things. I started thrifting a lot at this time. And I feel like that also just opened up like a whole new world of like options. Like I didn't need to buy fast fashion to find super cool, unique pieces. I could just find them at the thrift stores. It was cheaper, and honestly, like obviously I still thrift like all the time. So a lot more sustainable too, because you're buying secondhand. You're not like obviously, sorry, I should know fix this. You're not contributing to the fast fashion environment. So I think that was like a little bit of a turning point for me. And then I feel like even more so as soon as the pandemic hit and everyone was like stuck inside and lockdowns, and I actually started working from home, obviously, because we were all in lockdown. And I just kind of started just wearing like my pajamas all day, every day. And I kind of got into like a little bit of like, just like a little bit of like a depression in a way. Like I was always like feeling a little down, just like not being able to wear all these clothes that I, you know, used to love wearing. And so that's when I kind of started my TikTok channel, and then started dressing up, even if I wasn't going to go out anywhere, or even if I was just going to like the grocery store or something. I got to put on like a whole outfit, and it made me feel so much better. And I think it honestly probably helped my confidence grow even more just from dressing, just from putting on clothes for the day.
Oh,
So.
I love that so much. Did you ever guess that by you just showing up as you, that you would have this explosion of all kinds of different things that have happened in your life?
No, not at all. And I get that question often, and it still like blows my mind how much people appreciate it now. I feel like, I think obviously like through people seeing my TikTok and my Instagram, I think I get like the comment a lot that like, oh, this gives me like a serotonin boost, and like this makes me so happy. And it's like, I think a lot of people are like looking for that kind of happiness through everything that's been going on in the world too, especially these last few years. And I think that a lot of people are also realizing like not dressing in a way that makes you happy truly really does like affect your whole mood, and your confidence, and just the way that you think and feel about yourself. So it is like a really good form of self-expression. And I feel like I've always been pretty like creative, but I've never been like someone who is like artistic in a sense of like, oh, I can draw or paint. I feel like what I put on my body and how I wear things is like my art form.
And an art form it is. I'm always surprised when I see your videos. I'll be like, okay, she put this on. No, I can't believe she did this now. And I was like, woo. There is like that serotonin boost as we're
Yeah.
watching you. But one thing that, my mentor, Bob Proctor, used to tell us is that you don't, and I teach manifestation. I'm not sure if in the law of attraction or all that, but he used to teach that you don't manifest out of what you wish, you manifest out of who you are, who you're being. And
Yeah.
you're a prime example of that. And I try to tell my clients and tell them, look, and even myself, okay, because I'm still on that journey, even at my
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Of going, especially after watching you, of saying, wow, I was looking at my wardrobe, it's kind of boring. And I might have told you in the email that now when I see fun things, I'm like, oh, that's a Sara Camps purse and or earrings. And I'm reevaluating how I dress, and I'm looking
Yeah.
like for fun pieces like this. And
Yeah.
anyway, so it's just really fun. And the other part of all that that I want to inspire women to really explore here is how much you think out of the box.
Mhm.
So how did that happen? Is it just your creativity, or like, how
Um,
do you do that?
yeah, I think it definitely does come a lot from like my own creativity, but I also get inspired by a lot of people. So there's like obviously other like content creators that inspire me, but even just art in general. I watch a lot of like old runway shows. I read a lot of fashion books. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I like to like pull ideas, but kind of change them in a way that's like a little more modern for today's world. Um, but even like more recently, I've been kind of like just experimenting with like using things that aren't exactly clothing, but making them into like something that you could wear. And that's been like super fun and kind of like it's different. I've never done that before, but it's super interesting too to see how quick it catches on to like other people now, repurposing something that they didn't think would ever be something they could wear, and now it is. So I mean, like, even if it's something like a belt and you decide to wear it, wrap it around your neck a few times and now it's a necklace, something as simple as that, I feel like is a way to also use what you already have in your wardrobe instead of, over consuming and buying more things. So I think it's a good way to kind of play around with what you have.
I totally agree. And for those of you out there that don't know what sustained maximalism is, Sarah, maybe you could tell them what that really means, because it's a
Yes.
new revolution that you've created. And
Yeah. So, well, maximalism, or I like call myself a maximalist, which basically means I'm very attracted to bright, bold colors, prints. I love mixing prints. I love different textures and mixing textures, exaggerated silhouettes, anything that's very considered very out there, or just different from the norm, is just what I like to wear the most. And there's maximalism in like interior design and things like that too, where it's like a huge colorful room with a bunch of stuff going on. So I think that I like to say I'm sustainable maximalist because I try my best every day to, first of all, not overconsume. So I don't like to shop all the time, even though if I'm just thrifting, it still can turn into overconsumption. But I do shop only secondhand, and at thrift stores, as well as I love repurposing, which kind of ties into even just what we were talking about just a second ago about using different things in your own closet and wearing it a different way. So sometimes I'll find like a really cool, like old blanket that used to belong to like my grandmother. And now I can like turn it into a jacket or a skirt. And so, instead of throwing those things out or giving them away to thrift stores who don't always put them out on the floor, sometimes they end up in like landfills. I get to use them and create something new and different, and hopefully pass it on eventually to like my own children or something. So yeah.
I love that so much. And yeah, we are consuming way too much. This whole model is changing, thank
Mhm.
God. I myself look in my wardrobe now and think of how can I think about using this item in a different way, but I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
For sure. One question that I had is, and I'm sure you get this asked a lot, is how do people respond when you wear your clothes
Yeah.
out in public, or do they react? I mean, I was always very curious about that.
Yeah. I think I got a more I think I got a more negative reaction when I would dress like this like years ago, even like a year or two ago, a lot of people would not necessarily say anything straight to my face, but I can definitely tell like stares or, you know, like whispers to their friends or comments or people like pointing, and you just kind of know. But now I find, honestly, when I go out wearing my outfits, I find I get like a more positive response. Even the other day, I was just grocery shopping and a lady came up to me and she's like, "You look so beautiful. Like, this makes me so happy to see." And like, it was just a random like lady at a grocery store. And I feel like I get those comments now in public a lot more than I used to. And it's obviously so nice to hear that my outfit is making someone's day a little bit better. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, well, you have your following of fans who absolutely love what
Mhm.
you wear. But yeah, I was thinking about, but you know, that kind of tells us that you're opening up people's minds and people are starting to think in a
Yeah.
different way
Yeah,
because
that is what I think it is. I think people
yeah.
are more open now to other people dressing and looking different, which is nice. And people are a lot more accepting of it. I still get the odd or, you know, decent amount of comments. I think people are quick to judge and make rude comments when they're behind a screen a lot more than in person.
Hmm.
So for sure on TikTok, I'll get the mean comments, but that doesn't phase me anymore.
You know, and that's such a good point because it goes back to what I see all the time. And I've even been rethinking this myself is like, why have we been so conditioned to do everything to please other people and not please ourselves, right?
Mhm,
And it's such a bad concept
mhm.
that I'm so happy that it's changing and that you're part of it, that you're helping us to say, I was going to write a rant post too about just judging people in general, you know, for
Mhm.
whatever reason,
Yeah.
which is a whole nother topic. But so let's get into a little bit of like the girly stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I love your nails, I love your makeup, and I'm like, how did she come up with that makeup? And I think I requested the nail tutorial, and you were so kind
Oh
to
my
do
gosh.
that. But like for those people like me who haven't started on the journey yet, like
Mhm.
how do we start in with the creativity that you have? Like
Yeah.
so.
Um, I mean, I'll get asked often, how can I kind of transition into this style? And I always tell people like that doesn't happen like overnight. You don't just like wake up the next day and like put on like a million different colors and then that's just who you are. I feel like it's definitely like a slow transition, and you also have to kind of find your own personal style, which might not be exactly like mine. So I always tell people like that want to kind of start wearing more color. For instance, just try wearing like a colored top and the rest of your outfit can still be neutral, but just kind of slowly putting in like a little bit of color or whatever that may look like, even if it's more like a texture thing, or just trying a print, even if it's like a neutral. And then in terms of like makeup and nails and stuff like that, I've loved doing makeup for as long as I can remember. I used to actually have like a YouTube channel where I did makeup tutorials.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, back in the day. But even with makeup, I've been loving just matching the makeup look to my outfits. I feel like it's super fun. And another like a place that I find a lot of inspiration for makeup especially is on Pinterest. So
Oh, that's a
yeah,
great idea. Yeah.
yeah. So that's where I kind of pull a lot of those like ideas from, and I'll kind of just play around with even like placing like little pearls on my eyes or little crystals. It's truly like as if you're just like playing, like you're doing like arts and crafts, but you're just doing it on your face.
I love that. I do remember seeing one where you had the little pearls, and I thought,
Yeah.
isn't that so sweet and so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And so out of the box. Well, so, I think this trend of thrifting is catching on because my girlfriend's high school son who's in high school, he
Mhm.
goes in thrifts now, and
Yeah.
that's what they're wearing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, that is so amazing. And we were joking to him, like, you save a lot of money on clothes, because
Mhm.
I'm from an era where a lot of the people had to wear expensive
Mhm.
Nike or brand
Yeah.
names. And
Yeah.
I just think it's great. I just think it's a phenomenal kind of movement. For me, what I think my transition is since I've met you is I'm starting to rethink purses and jewelry. And
Yeah.
and that's where I'm starting. Shoes, I'm like, okay, my shoes are boring. So yeah, I'm not ready to go to,
Yeah.
the pow extent,
Yeah.
but see, I have puffy sleeve tops
Yeah. Yeah. I
now,
love
and
it.
so that's fun for me because now
Mhm.
I'm starting to look for those fun items. And one thing, and color too, which I
Mhm.
noticed I was always wearing black and
Mhm.
brown and these boring colors. So that's been really fun and inspiring. So Sarah, what are the common questions that you get asked, and like, through with your platforms and everything? What is one of the things that you encounter a lot with the work that you're doing?
I get a lot of questions. I mean, I feel like most of the questions you asked are probably my most common questions. Like, how did you transition to this? How do I start dressing this way? Um, I get asked often. I get asked often sometimes, actually, like, do you think you'll always dress this way?
Mm,
Which is interesting to think about because I honestly, I mean, I love like how I dress. It makes me feel good. And that's kind of like what I always think about is the feeling I get when I put on an outfit that I love.
mhm.
And I always refer to me getting dressed every day as my favorite part of the day when I wake up and I get to put together an outfit and I put it on and look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I love this. But yeah, like, I mean, maybe 20 years down the road, I might change my style a little bit as I, go through life experiences and things like that and, learn things and just get older in general. I feel like that's probably normal to kind of, change a little bit. So I'm excited to see like, yeah, like where I'm at or how I'm dressing at like 60, 70. But I think it'll still be pretty true to myself. And I feel like even just my personality shows through my clothes a lot. And I feel like that's just who I am. So
Well, and it goes back to that point of just simply feeling good.
mhm.
Like whatever you're going to wear several years from now is just going to make you feel good, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
whether it's the same or not, who cares, as long
Yeah.
as you're feeling good. I wanted to share with you, I lived in the 80s and 90s era
Yeah.
where my dress was like rocker chick. I thought it was a
I love
badass
that.
rocker chick. And I crack up because some of the clothes that you've thrifted are from that time.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll be like, oh gosh, I remember that. But she's repurposing it, and it looks really cool. But yeah, I think, we go through these weird dress phases. And, now that I'm my age, which I'm considered to be older, I feel like I'm going away from boring and going into exciting more again. And,
Yeah.
you know, that is kind of following the transformation that I'm going through on the inside, which has been massive in the last 2, 3 years. So
Mhm.
I think the outside is simply reflecting how we're feeling on the inside a lot,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. You've been featured in all these magazines now,
Mm.
which is like you said, it's a dream come true.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself going with all this? Do you have big plans? And like, tell me about that.
Um, I mean, everything that's been happening happened so quick. I definitely like set some goals for myself for even just this year. Just continuing obviously like what I'm doing on my social media platforms on TikTok and Instagram. I love like creating content, even if it's even like working with like small designers and stuff like that. I love basically, being able to use my following to help brands too. Um, and so I'm definitely going to continue with that and hopefully just keep growing on those platforms. Um, and I mean, everything that I've been like able to be featured in has been such a blessing. And it's still so like surreal to me. Um, but in terms of like career wise, I don't really know yet exactly. So I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a surprise. I am actually going to New York City this weekend for some fashion week events and such. So that should be fun. And I just feel like the more I network and I'm able to connect with like-minded people and people in the fashion industry that agree with things that I do and stuff, I feel like a job or something career wise could spring up in the future, but I would eventually love to be working as like my own brand.
I could see you doing that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought maybe that was already in the works, perhaps with the explosion that you've had.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now I notice that you have a little shop off of your Instagram where you
Yeah.
have some accessories. What is you have a day job now, right?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you do for your day job?
So I work like full time as I'm a marketing manager for a brand that's actually local to me in Canada, called Cakeworthy. And they
Mm.
just they sell apparel and accessories, but it's all like licensed product with like we do licenses with Disney. We do a lot of Harry Potter stuff, The Simpsons, like Nickelodeon, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's been really fun. I just actually started that job about 5 months ago. But I handle all of their social media and stuff like that too. So I feel very like comfortable in the position. So it's been really fun. And obviously working with all of those licenses are so fun. Like being able to help design like a Mickey Mouse shirt is so cool.
Well, and I could see you doing, just that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that want to have the level of impact that you're having
Yeah.
on TikTok, Instagram, and all that. And a lot of people may be in that same situation as you are, where you have a few things going on. So what is your advice for somebody who, yeah, they have a day job that they love, but they want to do something more, be an influencer?
Mhm.
Maybe you can give them a few tips on how they
Yeah.
can go about that.
I think if you're ever trying to create any kind of content on social media platforms, I always feel like my number one tip is to always be like authentic and genuine to yourself and what you believe in. I think a lot of the time, even just the term influencer gets used in a way where I feel like people sometimes just try to sell products, and that's the whole point. And there's not much like that they really, products that maybe they don't even necessarily use themselves. So I feel like people are able to kind of read through that. So I feel like being, as genuine and, truthful as possible is always a good thing to keep in mind. And also just, you know, taking that step to try something new, whether it's like a new business venture or you're, starting your own little side business. I mean, even with the accessories and I've been making like rings and bracelets since the beginning of the pandemic. That's been so fun. And it never feels like I'm doing work because I get to make things that I actually love too. And then being able to give them to people and people are, enjoying them and wearing something that I made is awesome. But you have to kind of take that initial first step and put it out there, which is always scary, but you're never going to know unless you try.
Absolutely. And you made a
Yeah.
really good point, because I always believe that energy speaks first.
Yeah.
And in your videos, one of the things that I notice, because I'm very intuitive, is your heart, who you
Mhm.
are. Like
Yeah.
you're super authentic, you're so excited, your joy comes across, and everything that you do. I think now when I put some outfits on, I put my foot up like you.
Yeah. I love that.
I just think that's adorable. And but the point is your joy comes through the screen and
Mhm.
it is authentic. And I think
Yeah.
that's very good advice for people who are wanting to get out there. It's all, for me, it's all about heart. It's
Yeah.
about us, wanting to improve somebody's life in some way. And
Mhm.
it's not just, oh, look at me. It's just like, this is who I am. This is how I'm
Yeah.
expressing myself. So wow, this has been amazing. I probably could ask you a gazillion other questions. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you have a platform too, which you expressed in a video, that you're all for, helping people of all gender identities. And tell me a little bit about that. Let's finish with that. What is your passion that you want to come forth with that idea that you expressed in one of your videos? I was just curious about it.
Yeah. So I definitely want to, I mean, I've always kind of just focused my social media platforms on just, expressing who you are, wearing what makes you happy. And I always kind of put it as, it doesn't matter, where you come from. It doesn't matter like your financial status. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, or your sexuality, or your size. But it, to some extent, dressing a certain, in certain clothes is easier for some people than it is for others. And that was honestly brought to my attention a little bit more recently too. And I had never talked about it or touched on it in my videos. Um, and so I made a video talking about that. And what I had hoped and still hope, because I keep that video at the top of my page so people see it first when they come to my page. Basically, just wanting to highlight creators that have a smaller following on the platforms that I use, and dress in a way that is so amazing too. And they come from, again, like just all different places around the world, all different backgrounds, and basically giving them a little bit of a voice through my voice or platform. And so that video I made has like a bunch of comments and people that people that come to my page can now follow. And I want to really work that into a lot of my videos going forward. And even I want to work in styling people of different shapes as well. So like plus size individuals, styling them in a way, that I think would suit their personal style, but still, flatter that body type in a sense. So, it's a challenge for me because I'm only used to dressing myself, but I think showing people that, you know, no matter what you look like and what size you are, anything like that, you can still express yourself how you want and you can still feel beautiful.
I love that so much. I think it's time. Yeah. And what a great person to put that out there.
Mhm.
Little bit of my background is I had a brother who was gay. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
he passed away. And I've been thinking about this a lot, how we don't accept people, he
Yeah.
didn't feel accepted. And so
Yeah.
that acceptance to say, hey, you can be beautiful, you can express yourself, whatever
Mhm.
gender, size, identity you have, I think is a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I love that.
Thank
That
you.
and everything that you're about. So if somebody's watching us right now and they worry about people's opinions and they don't express themselves, what is the last piece of advice that you would give them?
I would say, I mean, I would say you have to really learn to love yourself. I mean, as like maybe cheesy as that sounds, it really
No.
is. Yeah, it really is. I think like people would tell me that all the time, and I didn't really ever kind of like know what that meant until I started just playing around with my own style. And I was like, I don't know, one day or how it happened over time, and I was like, okay, this is me. And the confidence from figuring that out and really loving yourself, it's like unmatched. It's true.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think a lot of women don't love themselves because they think they have to fit in some kind of
Yeah.
box that
Yeah.
is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, this has been an incredible pleasure. And if somebody wants to find you or find your shop, maybe you can tell them where they can go.
Yeah. Well, my name on Instagram is Sara Camposarcone, which is my whole name. And my website for my jewelry that I make is saracampo.ca. And my TikTok name is Sara Camps with a Z.
I love your shop. I got to go on there again. Check
Oh,
out her shop. The jewelry is super fun. And yeah, if you haven't seen her TikToks or her Instagram, oh, I have one last question. Who does your photography for Instagram? It's phenomenal.
oh my gosh. So you're gonna laugh. My younger sister.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's only like 2 years younger than me. We're close in age, but I make her come with me to take photos, and I literally just take photos like around my neighborhood, but she knows all the angles now and they're perfect.
They're amazing. Like
Thank
she
you.
has a professional photographer. You
I'll
can
have to
tell
tell
your
her.
sister that.
Thank you.
Anyway, my dear, namaste. You're amazing.
Oh,
I
thank
want to be able
you.
to say, hey, before she got Uber even more famous, I was able to interview her, and I can't wait to see where you go, Sarah. And
Oh,
you're
thank
just
you.
love
Thank you so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was so
And
nice.
guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.